Hi everyone, welcome to another quick session. In this session, we will discuss another two topics: silicon root of trust and TPM. So, silicon root of trust is one of those CISSP topics that sounds abstract but becomes very clear once you see what exactly happens at power on. We will discuss them slowly, step by step with the real world logic, so not a marketing language. So first, what problem does silicon root of trust solve? Imagine your operating system is encrypted, your disk uses BitLocker, you have strong passwords, but how does this computer know the bootloader itself wasn't modified by malware who checks the checker? This is where silicon root of trust comes in. So the situation, your OS is encrypted, right? Your disk uses BitLocker, and you have strong passwords. But how does the computer know that bootloader itself? But how does the computer knows that bootloader is bootloader is not modified? Okay, so and this is done by a silicon root of trust. Silicon root of trust is the very first unchangeable piece of code built in chip that decide whether the system can be trusted to store. So that is a hardware gatekeeper, let's say. So very first unchangeable built into silicon runs before everything else. So what makes it silicon? Silicon root of trust is physical embedded during chip manufacturing. That means it is not stored on disk. It's not firmware you can update. It's not a software you can patch. It lives in CPU die, secure ROM, hardware security engine. Once manufactured, cannot be altered. Immutable. It's immutable, right? CISSP keyword. We need to keep in mind that cannot be altered once it's manufactured. What exactly does Silicon Root of Trust do? Silicon Root of Trust usually performs three core security actions: measurement, it calculates cryptographic hashes of firmware, bootloader, critical system components. Let me check if this looks exactly the same as it should. So it calculates cryptographic hashes of firmware, bootloader, and critical system components. Then it does verification. It compare measured values against known good values, signed certificate, manufacturer trust anchors. If mismatch, stop boot process. So enforcement, it decides boot continues and boot halts. There is something wrong with integrity, with hashing, then boot halts. If everything is okay, then boots continues. No human intervention needed. So step by step example: without silicon of trust, power on, firmware loads, without malware already injected, no one checked the firmware. So if your firmware is compromised, then it's a problem, and if it is affected by the malware. So with Silicon Root of Trust, power on Silicon Root of Trust execute first, verifies firm integrity, verifies bootloader in signatures, hands control to OS only if trusted. Trust is built bottom up. Why software root of trust are weaker? Because they can be modified. So therefore, preferable is hardware based trust. So silicon root of trust versus TPM. So another topic is TPM. Silicon root of trust is trust origin. Decide what is trusted. Starts the chain. TPM secure storage and reporting. Stores measurements. Performs crypto safely. For instance, silicon root of trust is a judge, and TPM evidence vault. So they work together. So they work together. They support each other, but they are not same thing. So they are not same. So silicon trust is unchangeable. First brain of the system that decide whether anything else is allowed to run. A silicon of trust is an immutable um, hardware based trust. Anchor embedded in silicon that verifies system integrity at boot before any firmware software executes. That is silicon of trust. And regarding TPM, we so TPM is actually what it does. Core TPM functions: secure key storages, platform integrity measurement, secure boots support. So TPM, where our keys and measurements are stored. Physical hardware chip. TPM is often used to implement a hardware root of trust. So secure boot with uh, TPM. So TPM, I think one more thing I would like to highlight regarding TPM is that TPM is trusted uh, platform module. Okay, so TPM is a locked safe. Keys go in, keys never come out. Cryptographic operation happens inside the safe. And if we conclude our discussion, TPM is hardware safe for keys and measurement, as we have discussed. So I think that's it regarding these two important topics. Thank you so much for watching this session. If you have any question or feedback, please share in the feedback section.